What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I am Sean.
And I'm Catherine. And as always, we will be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career.
All three of those things?
All of them, yeah. I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's going to be exciting today. We do actually have 3 different topics that we want to touch on today.
Yeah.
I got audited this
bag.
week.
You got audited?
I got audited, yeah.
This is news to me.
No, it's not. Stop lying to our audience. You knew about it. That's why I was late to work on Wednesday.
I did, yeah.
Got audited by the feds. I guess maybe the state.
It was the state, yeah.
It was the state.
The thing said the state of New Jersey.
Unemployment audit.
Yeah.
So first time for that. Mm-hmm. Been audited for insurance purposes. You do those audits every year with the carrier, but
you're not in jail though, so I assume it went well.
No, they have introduced a new work release thing that they're pretty lenient about, which is great. Now, it went pretty well, but it was my first time getting audited, so it was an eye-opening experience, and we'll get into the pros and cons of getting audited. Really, what to have in mind to make sure that if you do get audited, it goes as smoothly as possible, and you
how to
don't
safeguard
go to jail.
yourself, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Before we get into such a heavy topic.
Well, that's only one thing.
Oh, right. There's 3.
There's
okay,
3
sorry.
things.
Continue.
I've also been doing a lot of reading. I don't know if we've talked about that. My goal's reading books.
Okay.
Mostly listening, audiobooks. Mm-hmm. But 2 very interesting ones recently. One on negotiating from an FBI hostage negotiator, which obviously that directly correlates to everyday life.
Yeah.
So
you can work that in anywhere.
Anywhere. Everything's life or death if you just believe it to be so. But really interesting stuff there on negotiating. And then also revisited an old favorite, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is probably my favorite book.
Yep.
And just a really good refresher on that I thought it would be good to go over some of those things.
Yeah.
For ourselves and for our listeners.
I love that. I haven't read that book in a while, so I would love a good refresher on it. It's
and as
also
I
one of my
said
favorites.
previously, you can do just that.
Correct.
It is at your
my disposal. It's right. It lives on my nightstand, actually.
It lives there?
I just look at it every day. Yeah. That's where it lives.
I wish that it did on mine as well. I do have several books on my nightstand, but that was one of those books that I let somebody borrow.
Never got it back.
Oh, I'll give it right back when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
do you want to call that person out right now?
Yeah, Mike Casey. Mike Casey.
How dare you, Mike Casey?
Yeah. You know what? Now actually that I think about it, my grandmother gave me that book. She did.
Oh, bad karma for Mike Casey.
Mike Casey, you're going down. I hope he listens to this. I haven't seen him in a while. Old friend. And it was just his birthday. So, you know what? Since I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
Mike, it's your birthday present. You keep it. You've had it for like 12 years. You just keep it now. All right, moving on. We're getting a little squirrely already.
We're starting this episode.
We're starting it off squirrely. I love that energy. So, what do we got to drink?
Oh, I'm excited about this.
You're drinking a Red Bull, but
yes, that's just my pregame for what we're drinking.
Okay.
I got Pumpkinhead beer because it's fall now. So I was like, in the liquor store. I feel like all the seltzers are like fruity and poolside and summery.
Yep.
Saw pumpkins. I was like, oh,
gotta have that. Love that. And it is getting to be that time of year when it's getting a little bit cooler out.
I am trapped. There we go. Okay.
And so I recently made the switch back to pants.
Yep.
And I was pretty committed on that.
How's that going for you?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It hasn't been so hot that I have regretted it immensely, but today I decided, you know what, let me wear a hoodie.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I stuck with that decision all day, even though I had a t-shirt on underneath, and it was very hot.
Yeah.
I think it got up to 80 degrees, and I was just walking around with a hoodie on like an absolute psychotic animal.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting, bold choice.
It was, but I don't regret it. I'm just excited for fall. I'm excited for hoodie weather.
Yeah. I saw a meme today that said something like, the weather went from 90 to 55 like it just passed a cop. And I was like, that's, I like that. And that's also, it feels like that's what it did. Mm-hmm. It got so cold.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, this tastes like a pumpkin.
Does it? Is it good?
No. I don't like it very much. I don't know. I'm going to give it another shot. It wasn't what I expected. What do you think?
Oh,
It's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
It tastes like I'm eating pumpkin pie and drinking a beer at the same time.
That's pretty much exactly what it tastes like.
That's pretty much exactly what's happening. We should do that next week and then compare it.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, hey.
People love the pumpkin stuff.
Beer's a beer, you know?
Yeah.
And it's Friday. Happy Friday.
All right.
Okay.
Back to audits.
Back to audits. Should I just break down the whole experience?
Talk about how it started, yeah.
Okay, so it started, I started a business, 2015, all the way back then. No, so what happens is they send you a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
And they say, you're getting an audit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from the state labor department, I guess.
Yeah.
It's an unemployment audit. So basically they go through your payroll, they go through all that stuff. And they start out by sending you a letter to your home.
Yep.
You know, your safe place. They send it to your...
Right to your...
You know, I guess if you didn't have a home office, they'd probably send it to your office.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a home office, so they send it to the office, which is also my home. God, how intrusive. So they send you a letter and they say, you have been randomly selected for an audit.
I do like how the letter was worded. It was like, you may have been randomly selected, or you did something wrong and you were selected, but...
We won't tell you.
That's up to you to figure out.
Exactly. So, and they say, we're coming on this date at this time, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. They give you a whole list of documents that you should have at the ready. Mm-hmm. Guess what?
You weren't prepared for that part?
I didn't have any of those documents, really. So we use an online payroll system. I knew that I could access them online, and I'm like, am I really going to print out like 100 pieces of paper for this lady? I could probably just pull it up on the screen. For the most part, that worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, what did I learn from it?
What did you learn from it?
What did I learn from having Joni in my house for 3 hours?
Were you guys like buds by the end of it? Like,
I think so, yeah. Yeah, we talked about a lot. Yeah, definitely.
That's nice.
There was one like extended 10 to 12 minute period where neither of us could stop sneezing, and it was extremely awkward. We just kept saying God bless you back and forth for like 10 to 12 minutes.
Why?
In the silence of my kitchen.
Why were you sneezing so much?
I don't know. Allergies.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Weird.
It was very strange. So yeah.
All right,
that
lessons.
was fun.
What were your lessons?
Lessons were I am so glad that we outsource all of our payroll and our bookkeeping and tax filings and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of the stuff I didn't have documents of. So each quarter there's a 941, there's a 927, there's a WR30. There's all these forms that have to get submitted every quarter, and there's also annual ones, there's monthly ones. It's all over the place. It's insane. Nobody can keep up with it except for people that do payroll all the time. So I'm really glad that we have a payroll service, because I needed those forms. She was like, I need the 927 from quarter 2. And I was like, I don't know where that's at. I don't know how to get that. Let me call my accountant. Called him up. I said, hey, Ken. I was actually talking to his daughter, Becca, and she said, okay, what do you need? Okay, sounds good. Boom, 5 minutes later, had it all emailed to me, had all the documents. So shout out to them. Ken Gertie.
Love that. How do you do, like I saw the list of things that they said they might look at, which they gave you that.
Yeah.
But then if it's like that specific, like what if your accountant didn't answer? Then what do you do?
Well, I think that's why they give it to you, so that you have it ready beforehand.
But you're supposed to pull, like, it didn't say like what year or what quarter or anything.
It said 2021. Should have
you should just have everything for 2021.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really give it a thorough comb through until the night before.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit tired. Mm-hmm. So I gave it like a full comb through morning of.
Yep.
Payroll stuff is on Sarah's computer.
Yeah.
I waited to try to sign into the payroll service right before she was about to leave, like as she was trying to leave. And she was like, what are you doing with my computer? I need it. I was like, just 1 second. She was like, you've had a month to prepare for this. I literally had to leave right now. And so, yeah, I was glad that Ken was at the ready.
Yeah.
I could call them, and they sent over all the forms that I needed. And she went through all of them. And, yeah, that was kind of it. I was really shocked at how thorough it was. She went through not only the quarterly tax filings for payroll. She went through the full year business tax return, went through all that, and then also went through the weekly payroll summaries for every paycheck that was put through payroll. And she said, I can either do a total weekly summary, and I guess she adds all that up and makes sure that it correlates with the number that's on your WR30s and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Or she was like, I can just track one employee throughout the entire year and then make sure it's all good. So she did that, and I guess it was all good. I guess it all added up to a good number.
Yeah.
Because we have that payroll service. If we didn't have a payroll service and I was doing this on my own, I'm 1,000% sure that I would just be like, Joni, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Didn't do that. For that, I apologize. I would be doing a lot of that because, like, I still didn't know, but I could just call my accountant and he handles the payroll through another service. He like outsources it. So, but I could call him and say, hey, I need these documents. They do all the tax filings, and boom, send it over to me right away. They also needed 1099s. So they sent over all that document stuff, and I was good to go. And I think really the purpose of it, which people should be really cautious of, in New Jersey at least, they're really cracking down on the fact of having somebody as a W-2 employee versus having a 1099 subcontractor. So we use very few subs, but they wanted license numbers. They wanted addresses for your subcontractors. They wanted all this information so that they could verify this isn't really like an employee. Like, this is another business that you're hiring. Because if you just 1099, which should be like a normal W-2 employee, and you're trying to get out of those payroll taxes, they would have found it, and you would have had to back pay all those taxes plus interest. No good. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So be cautious of that, because I know a lot of people in this industry like to 1099 their employees, and they think that they're getting out of paying payroll taxes, and they're like, nah, it's all good. They're, I 1099 them. It's fine. It's not, and I know New Jersey and many other states are really cracking down on that. So be careful.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, you don't want Joni knocking on your door and saying, give me more money.
So Joni didn't find anything? You're all good?
Well, she did, yeah.
Oh, no.
I had to pay about $4,000.
Oh.
Yeah. So essentially, as the business owner, there is like a threshold that you have to pay yourself through payroll. Mm-hmm. So as the owner, you can get paid a certain amount through payroll, and you can also take distributions, which are reported on your Schedule K, I believe,
Okay. Yeah.
on your taxes, because we have an S Corp here. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain amount that you have to pay yourself through payroll to pay unemployment, Social Security, all of that kind of stuff as the owner. And I think in like 2018 or 2019, I didn't meet that threshold. I think I only paid myself through payroll like $30,000, and you had to pay yourself like $50,000. So they dinged me with that.
From that long ago?
Yeah, they went back to 2018.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
okay, Joni's thorough.
Joni is thorough. So what happened was, I think I didn't have like one of the documents she needed for 2021. And I don't think it was a big deal, but she was like, since you don't have this one document, I need to elaborate our search all the way back to 2018. Oh, come on, I thought we were almost done. I got to get back to work. So overall, not too bad.
Yeah.
I owe the state government $4,000 now, but lesson learned. Could have been way worse.
Could have been worse, yeah.
Could have been way worse. And yeah, learned a lot from the audit process. It really made me thankful that I do have services for this, and it's something that we talk about a lot. If you don't know what you're doing, outsource it, delegate it, get a qualified professional to do it, and I'm glad that I have that.
Yeah.
So
did you ask her why you were randomly selected, or if there was a reason?
No, I didn't actually. No. No.
On the paper, it said that you could ask your auditor.
Yeah.
At
that point, I didn't really. I think it was just random. I don't know. You know what it probably was?
What?
She's definitely a fan of the YouTube. She probably just wanted to meet me.
Probably.
That's what it was.
Probably definitely that.
So, yeah, that was an exciting exciting thing.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it to happen again. Looking forward to it.
Hopefully it doesn't, but
They said I have at least 3 years until it happens again. Until I'm randomly selected. Sounds like they're planning on randomly selecting me again in 3 years.
wait, you have until 3 years, like within the next 3 years, they're going to select you again? Or
No.
you mean they won't for
They
3
won't.
years?
You have
okay.
at least 3 years until they can select you again.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Every
a lot
3
learned
years.
on that.
Got it.
Every 3 years, yeah. something to think about there.
Yeah.
But it's over.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with us, Sean. That was
Thanks for listening, honestly. It means a lot. It means a lot.
All right. Well, what else?
What else?
Yeah.
More? Mm-hmm. I just spilled out my whole soul and heart on this audit story.
No, I think we're good on auditing.
We're good on the audit. Okay. I've been reading some absolutely excellent books.
Yeah.
Some excellent books that have sparked so much interest and curiosity within my tiny brain. And which one should we start with? The negotiating?
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay.
Because that's new
Yeah. So
to me. At least.
this is a book that I've heard about a lot. I think I heard them maybe on a podcast at some point. It's by a former FBI hostage negotiator, and it's called Never Split the Difference.
Okay.
So
What's the author's name?
Chris Voss.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty boss name. I like that.
Boss Voss.
Boss Voss. Yeah. So I mean it's another one of those books that is like, you know, sort of hyperbole to an
Yeah.
extent. It's like, you know, it's like the Jocko Willink books where it's like, this is what happened in war, and this is how a war zone is exactly like a business room. It's like, you can take, you know, correlations and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it's a bit of hyperbole. I mean,
Okay.
some of the stuff, you know, that is literally life and death, and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, negotiating a business exchange is not usually life or death. So,
Right.
you want to learn about it?
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
I want to know what the tactics are.
What the tactics are?
Are you doing the tactics right now?
Am I doing the tactics right now?
Are they so ingrained into your everyday life now because you've read this book?
Sounds like you are a very inquisitive person.
Does Boss Voss have a hold on you?
So what I just did there was demonstrate two of the techniques that they talk about pretty much almost the entire book, and that's mirroring and labeling. So
Okay.
I did share those techniques with you earlier when I was reading the book, and I'm not entirely convinced on their effectiveness, but basically I like the thinking behind it. It's
Yeah.
basically what you want to do in a negotiation or any type of, you know, business decision that you're trying to come to with a counterpart is you want to be somebody that's listening. You want to be the person that's just gathering as much information as possible. You know, it's not like a you versus them situation. You want to understand where they're coming from, and what you really want is you want to figure out a win-win situation. So by doing things like mirroring, which is that first technique, I just repeat the last couple things that she says in a upward inflection. You want to demonstrate again?
Yeah. Hey, Sean, I really have this proposition I'm excited for you to listen to. Do you have any interest in hearing it?
Do I have any interest in hearing it?
Yeah, I think you're really going to like it. I think it would be beneficial for both of our parties if we, you know, take the time to discuss it.
Beneficial for both of us?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be, you know, I want to make money, you want to make money. Let's work together on something.
It sounds like you've really thought this through pretty well.
I have, yeah. I've put a lot of thought into it, and I really came to the conclusion.
Boom, there you go. Again, mirroring and labeling. So by mirroring, you know, I think it's hard to really gauge the effectiveness of it when you're doing it with somebody that knows that you're doing it.
Yeah.
But I think you can kind of see how it does work a little bit. Like you say,
Yeah, it just
I
gets
have
people to talk more.
Exactly. And the more that you can get them to explain what their side of it is, the more you can understand what should my reaction or my, counter proposal be?
Yeah.
You want to figure out like what is it that they really want out of this,
Uh-huh.
So I think that was really interesting
Yeah.
to read about.
Yeah.
And the other tactic that I was just doing there was labeling. So
Yeah, we actually didn't really talk about that one. Talk about, what does that even mean? Labeling.
what does that even mean? So we're going back to mirroring. What does that mean? So that means basically you do a combination of those two things. You do the mirroring, you get information out of them, and then based on what they say, you make a educated guess about really what they think about themselves. Like you want to say something about them that they probably want to hear about themselves. Like you said, I have
Okay.
this business proposal for you, and I think we can both benefit from this a lot. And I say, both benefit from this? And then you explain it a little bit more. And then I say, sounds like you've really thought this through pretty well. Now I'm labeling, and you're saying, you know what, damn right, I have thought this through. You're going to continue. You're
Yeah.
going to get a sense that, wow, this person gets it. They
Yeah.
understand where I'm coming from. This isn't, a foe. This is a counterpart.
We're on the same page.
We want to get to a place where it's a cooperative effort to get to a place where we both win.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that. How many hostages did this man successfully negotiate? Does he say that in the book?
Yeah, most of them died, actually. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just curious what his success rate is to write a book about it. Did he say that? Or was that not mentioned?
It actually was not mentioned, no. It sounded like most of the time they were released. It was very interesting, though, because you don't really think about, like, you hear a case, like, the thing that I thought about was, like, you hear about people robbing a bank and taking hostages, and that was a couple of the examples in the book. Okay. But also, like, there's places in the world where, like, that's just, like, everyday business. Like, people, like, gangs and, cartels, like, they do that as just a business transaction. We're in the business of kidnapping people and ransoming them off to try to gain monies.
Okay.
And it happens a lot. So, like the local governments or, federal governments of, I think one of them was like in Haiti or something like that. They'll ask for the assistance of the FBI. Somebody like him would coach the person that's going to negotiate with the hostage takers. So sometimes they're the ones that are directly on the phone with the hostage taker, or sometimes they are coaching somebody that is going to be talking to the hostage taker.
Okay. But I thought why is they're stealing?
They're still what?
They're, like, in war, I get it, because then you would be talking to the government
Yes.
or whatever, because you stole somebody during war. Stole somebody? Kidnapped? Whatever the word is.
Stole them, yeah.
Stole them, yeah. But, like, in a non-war time, then aren't you just ransoming, like, another person? You're not ransoming the government, so how does a hostage negotiator get involved in that case?
I think what it is... So, yeah, I think you're right. I think the person that would be the hostage negotiator in that setting would be... Like, okay, imagine Pat got taken hostage.
Oh, no.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Are you going to just negotiate directly to them? Or are you going to call the police? What are you going to do?
I guess I would call the police.
You'd call the police. If
What if they say, don't call the police? They always say that.
They always say that. And you know what they also say?
What?
We'll know if you call the police.
Yeah.
All right, well, you have to deal with that issue on your own. Whether you call it... A lot of people probably call the police.
Okay.
The police get involved. And they say, okay, we're going to coach you through. And then those police... I don't know. There's back channels there where eventually the FBI guy gets involved and he's coaching people how to negotiate their way out of hostage-taking situations.
Okay.
So basically...
I like this theory of, like, subtly gaining the upper hand by appearing to be on the same page.
Yeah, you don't want to be combative anytime you're in a negotiation. You want to feel like you're there to help them get what they want. Mm-hmm. And the best way to do that is to listen to them so that you get as much information as possible. And a lot of times, if you do things like that mirroring technique, they're going to kind of repeat themselves, but they're going to use different words. They're going to say it in a different way that sometimes will, like, really show the true thing that they're after.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so they might say that they want one thing, but you know, the more that you question them, listen, and understand, there is an underlying reason that you can get to, and that's what you really need to identify so that you can address that with your responses.
Okay, so how can people apply this to their business? Should they take their clients hostage? Is that
Absolutely.
what you're saying?
Yeah. So, the thing that I think you can take from this is, to a certain extent, you're in a negotiation with your client, but I think the real thing that you can take away from this is the effectiveness of careful listening. Because I think, to a big extent, you should have your business in a position where there really isn't any negotiation. You give the price, they say yes or no. Mm-hmm. That's where we should be. We should be at that point where this is the price. No, there's no negotiating. It's yes or no, in a nicer way, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I think the tactics still benefit from the consultation process, from all of that leading up to it, to getting to a price, that you really need to be a good listener to understand what the client really wants. That's like the biggest challenge for a designer, is you're trying to get to the core of what this client wants when they're trying to explain it from a point of view that isn't a designer, that doesn't know how this stuff should come together. They don't even really know how to express it. So you need to really be good at listening to certain things to figure out, what is it that they want from this space? How can I build a space that hits these needs that they kind of don't even fully understand themselves?
Okay.
You need to do that by listening.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. Yeah.
So let's try it in a consultation perspective.
Okay.
I just come to your house and I'm going to give you a backyard consultation. So, hey, and what's Catherine? Is it?
No, Natalie.
Natalie, nice
Yes.
to meet you, Natalie.
Nice to meet you.
Where's Catherine? Did you take her hostage?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, God.
I did. She's in the basement.
Oh, no.
I'll be handling this from now on. So you want to design my backyard?
Design your backyard.
Yeah, I need somebody to design my backyard. Are you interested?
Am I interested? No, so I think some of these techniques don't totally work in this capacity, but
No, I think we're just not into the meat of the conversation. We just,
Oh, I gotta wait?
Yeah, you gotta wait. Okay, so I'm
mirroring
thinking.
too soon.
Yeah, you're too soon. You're coming in too hot with the mirroring. I need to get some meat out before. Okay, so this is what I think that I want. I want. I know that I live in New Jersey and it gets really cold here and it gets really hot, but I want to eliminate an entire wall, and I want it to be a giant bifold door that opens up to a 20 by 20 patio. No, 20 by 20 deck. And because I have a lot of friends come over this one time a year, and I need room for all of them. What do you think?
20 by 20 deck.
Yeah. I have so many friends that come over for my 4th of July party, and I really need, I need them to feel welcome in my home. So I need like a giant space to entertain them.
Oh, a really big July 4th blowout?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So I think if you practice the techniques a little bit more, you can get a little more out of it. But really, I think in this scenario, you don't have to do the mirroring technique, like really just like repeat the last couple words and get them to keep talking. I think you can do that sometimes when it makes sense. Like when you said, I want a 20 by 20 deck and all this stuff, and I say, okay, you want a 20 by 20 deck? Yeah, I think you can add a couple more words. Like, you want a 20 by 20 deck. What made you come to that number? You know, you can keep asking different questions. Mm-hmm. And what I tell people is just keep talking. Don't worry about, getting your ideas out in any particular order or format. Like, I will cipher through it and I'll ask questions when I need to, but just throw everything out at me. And you want to just keep the client talking so that you can get a full picture of what their needs are.
Yeah.
Like, that's your job as a designer. So I think you can take some of those tips from the negotiating. Really listening, I think, is the most important.
That's
yeah.
good advice for all facets of life.
Yeah, you should always be a good listener.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how to become a very interesting person?
How?
Be interested.
That leads us to our next.
I know, because that's from
Perfect segue.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Another great book of just American literature, written in like 1930-ish.
Yeah.
Still relevant today. Just about human interaction, about how to appeal to people, how to win friends and influence people. Mm-hmm. What do you got on it? Because I know you've read it. It's been a while.
It's been a little bit,
so
yeah.
fresh on my mind now.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it.
I mean, I think that's, like that, if we're talking about negotiations and you don't want to appear to be an enemy, you don't want to come at it with a combative nature. Like, that's what this entire book is about. You just...
Always think in terms of the other person.
Yes, always thinking in terms of how what you're saying or how you're acting or what you're doing is being perceived by the other person.
Yeah.
Like that's like 90% of fights, I feel like, is just the other person I don't want to say that the other person is mistaking it, but like how the other person is receiving the information. If you're not saying it in a way that person knows how to interpret it, then that causes miscommunication.
Absolutely. Absolutely does. I think one of the most important things from the book is to really, like, when you are basically coming to somebody and you want something from them, the only way that you're going to get that is by, one, speaking in terms that apply to them. Like, speaking to them as to, these are the benefits to you. Because that's all that they care about. They don't care about your problems or, work slow, or, they don't care. They have their own problems. They could care less. They want to know, how is this going to help me? That's what everybody cares about at the core, whether they realize it consciously or not. They care about themselves, and that's how you need to approach things. You need to approach things as, how is this going to benefit the person that I am going to? Mm-hmm. Put it in their terms. See it from their perspective.
100%. Yeah. That's like when you if you're like meeting with a contractor and you're like, oh, how's your day going? And they're like, ugh, I'm just so busy and like, I just can't find the time to do anything. Like, all right, let's get to, chatting or whatever. It's like, okay, get out of here then. I don't care. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, it'd be so much better if someone came to you and were like, oh, well, I mean, you should just say I'm good. But if you want to talk about how you are and you're busy, just be like, oh yeah, I'm really busy. And I'm excited to learn about your new project. Like, that's what people want to hear.
Definitely. And I think it also comes into play when you are asking something like of one of your clients, or, or you want them to do something like, hey, I need you to fill out this form because I'm too busy. I'm very busy. You need to fill out this form. We kind of do that. Like, to an extent, you have to fill out the form to get in contact with us. But if you are talking to like a client that you're already engaged with or working on, and you need them to do a certain thing to not hold you up, like they were going to pick out ceiling fans, for example, and you need them to finalize their decision, pick it out. You can't just go, hey, this is going to hold us up. Like, we have other jobs to get to. I need you to come to a decision. You can word it in a way that acknowledges that they're busy too. Say, hey, I hate to bother you. I know you have so much going on. Just wondering if you had time to pick out those ceiling fans yet. Mm-hmm. And then you can put your point of view across. Like, once you disarm them and say, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're super busy. Hate to even, interject with this question. I'm sure it's the last thing you want to think about. But hey, did you have a chance to think about those ceiling fans? We really want to get this installed and get this finished up for you. And we don't want to have any delays because, I know you have enough going on. You want this to be out of your hair as soon as possible. Put it in that perspective, you're much more likely to get the result that you want, which is the client makes their decision, lets you know so that you can continue. If you go at them like, hey, look, you need to make the decision on these fans. I have another job to get to. If you delay this decision one day, that's one day that it's slowing us down and I can't get to the next job. What am I supposed to do? they're probably like, I don't care. That's great. Wow.
We're
okay.
all busy.
Yeah,
okay.
we're all busy. A lot of our clients are also business owners or very busy professionals. So, when you come at it like that, like your, rush is more important than their busyness, that puts them instantly on the defensive. Like,
right.
All right, I get it, Sean. Yeah, you're busy. Yeah, we all are. Okay. Lay off me.
Yeah.
So you really can be mindful of how you present things to people. It's a good way to go about things.
Yeah, that's true. And no one wants to, just an idea.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. There you go. Yeah, no one, if you attack people with your language, or if you sound some sort of like accusatory or just come at people brashly, you're never going to get the response that you want. No one ever like reacts to brashness with being like, oh, wow, like, okay, yeah, let me step to it and do that thing you want. It's always like, no, dude, like, get out of my face. Why are you, like, that's always going to be the response. So if you want a good response to your ask, it's going to have to be in some sort of nice, understanding, calm language.
And one of the things I really like about the book is it is a very old book. So a lot of the examples are about, like, Andrew Carnegie and Charles Schwab and Rockefeller, and it's like all these people from history, like, of these amazing success stories that were really like pioneers in the Industrial Revolution and in big industry.
Yeah.
And you realize that, like, the things that made them so good at what they did were really their people skills.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's Andrew Carnegie, his gravestone says, here lies a person who had the skill of attracting people around him that were more clever than he, or something like that. Like, he looked at himself as never the smartest person around. He felt like he could assemble really smart, talented people around him that knew more than him.
Yeah.
And he was just a really good people person, and he knew how to interact with people and how to, like, appeal to the side of them that will get them to do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, like, he did that intentionally. He wanted to surround himself with people who were more knowledgeable on things than him. Yeah.
And
that book's by Dale Carnegie. Do you think I didn't put that together. Do you think they're related?
I don't know. I never thought of that either. Oh, yeah, this is weird. I never thought of that. I don't think so.
No,
but maybe.
Probably. They didn't mention it, so maybe not.
Yeah.
He wasn't like my grandpa.
Oh, Paul. Yeah. If he was related, I would probably take everything with a grain of salt. It's made up. Paul just told you that. And he probably just, beat everybody. But there's just so many, like, cool examples of, how to get people to do little things. Like, one of the examples was in one of Carnegie's steel mills. Like, people were, and these are all, maybe these stories really happened, maybe they didn't, but there was a group of workers smoking in the factory right underneath a no smoking sign. So instead of going up to them and, like, reprimanding them and saying, hey, you're standing right underneath the sign, what are you doing? Go outside. Instead, he got, like, 4 nice cigars from his office, came down and said, hey, I know you guys are really busy and, you guys are doing a great job, always working so hard. Here are some nice cigars. Why don't you go outside and take a break and smoke these? And, hey, if you don't mind, maybe next time try to smoke outside. Instead of going and reprimanding right away, you say, okay, that's not going to get me anywhere. That's just going to make them resent me. That's going to make them probably want to do it more. Yeah. It's kind of like dealing with kids.
Kind of, yeah.
Teenagers.
Exactly.
They want to rebel.
I'm going to crank coons wherever I want to crank coons.
Exactly. So it's just, I think, an excellent book that everybody should read. I think everybody should read it, regardless of what you do. But I think it
should be like required reading in high school. I feel like that would be a good point for the human psyche to take in that information.
I think so, but you know what the downside to that is?
Superhuman.
No, I wouldn't have read it. I didn't read anything they told me to read in high school.
Yeah, that's a solid point. That is a good point.
Yeah, I just think, especially in the trades, the type of business that, really any business that you run, you have clients to deal with, you have employees to deal with, you have vendors to deal with. There's so many people that you deal with that you should really look at that as a skill to get better at. Dealing with people.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
and I think the trades kind of have this, like, this reputation of like the people being rough around the edges. Like I feel like I'm guilty of this too. Like someone will be like, "Oh, do you know?" Like I am very rough around the edges. But like they'll be like, "Do you know a roofer?" And I'll be like, "Yes, I have this great guy. He does amazing work." A little rough around the edges, just a warning. But that happens all the time, you know? Like
it does. Roofers, they might forever just be rough around the edge. You got to be rough around the edges to be a roofer. It's so hot up there on the,
I get it.
Roof.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just,
It is a thing, though. It is definitely a thing that...
I just have one,
one person in...
When I said roofers, I had one person.
I think I'm thinking of the same person, probably. You think?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay.
And, I had a conversation with my mom, and I was like... And my mom is like the opposite of rough around the edges. She's like
so sweet,
smooth around the edges, whatever the equivalent of that is. Very sweet, sweet woman. So I had to be like a little rough around the edges, but he does
smooth
great work.
around the edges. Just sounds weird.
It did sound weird. Yeah,
sounds weird. Okay,
but
something to think
about.
about.
Yeah, so I feel like that. I think that generally speaking, people in the trades get that like rough around the edges kind of reputation.
Yeah.
And good people skills would be a great way to, just smooth out those edges.
Absolutely.
Get your edges smooth.
Get your edges smoothed out. And it's just interesting because like everything, there's so many things that are looked at as a skill to be improved, to be worked on, to be practiced. But people skills like just aren't something that you hear about, like, practicing and techniques to get better at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because everything revolves around dealing with other people. In every industry, in every every day.
Yeah.
So, I love that book.
It's so good.
Good.
It's a must read.
It's definitely a
sure.
must read, must listen to. I'm actually listening to it second time back to back. Just to really soak it all in because I really enjoy it.
You do that a lot. You like to
do.
read back to back.
I like to, because then you're already like, I just feel like it's fresh enough, obviously, because you just listened to it. But it's like, I don't know. You get a lot more out of it, I think, because you already kind of have a framework of what they're saying at that point. You know, you kind of remember, I remember this story, and then you pick up little details. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's helpful to me.
I like that, yeah.
So.
I need to get back into the audiobooks. I've been reading paper books. And
paper books? What is this, like 1410? God.
I know.
God.
I have been slacking on my audiobook consumption.
Yeah, I can't wait till you can just download them into your brain.
Into your brain, yeah. That'll be so nice.
I think we talked about that enough. And your people skills, how to win friends, how to influence people. It's going to have to be a journey of your own. There's only so much that we can teach you. Read the book.
Yeah.
And make it a lifestyle.
Yeah. We should make a book club.
A book club.
I feel like I say this every week.
Yeah,
that would
you
be
say
a
it a
good
lot.
book club book. Everyone should read it, and then we should discuss.
Yeah. It would just be a lot of people all saying, well, what was your perspective?
Everybody being really nice to each other.
Yeah. Nobody wanting to say their perspective. They just want to use all the tips. Yeah, maybe that's something
Good
one day
point.
that we could do. I don't know how we would do that with our listeners. A hardworking happy hour book club, maybe like a Facebook group or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
Maybe like a Zoom meeting.
Oh, a Zoom meeting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to work those type of things. I was never a corporate person.
Just an idea.
But do you know what time it is by any chance?
Time for the secret question?
Exactly. Yeah, you weren't sure if I was talking about the real time or the... Yeah, I was talking about it's time for the secret question of the week.
Of the week. Do you have one?
I do, but
Okay.
I can't quite remember what it was. It was so... it was so right there on my mind. I thought of it yesterday. Do you have one?
Oh, yes, I do. I'll start. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, like you said a couple minutes ago, you couldn't wait until you can just insert a chip into your brain, books in your brain already.
Okay.
Does the idea of artificial intelligence and the like terrify you, or is that exciting to you?
I think it's an exciting, terrifying proposition, you know?
Elaborate.
I think it's obviously, I think it's obviously coming to that. Like the world of technology is culminating in, technology integrating with the human.
Yeah.
It's like we're almost there with the phone. It's just like if it was a couple inches deeper under our skin, it would just be there. But it's like it never leaves our side.
Yeah.
It's an extension of who we are. Mm-hmm. Does it terrify me? To an extent, yeah. Yeah, I think anything that's unknown, that's new,
Yeah.
can be terrifying, you know? I think just like anything, it can be harnessed in the wrong ways and it can be used for terrible things, but I think what you're really getting at, if Neuralink comes out and you can get a chip and plant it into your brain, am I going to do it? Yep. For sure.
Okay.
Because if you don't, it's like, if that's available, some people are going to get it and then they're going to like take over everybody else. You'll have to.
Yeah, but then what if like the robots turn on you or whatever?
You'll be a robot, so you'll be the one turning, which would be perfect. Pick the side that's going to win. It's going to be the robots.
The robot side.
What
that's
side are you
true.
on, Catherine?
That's true.
Make a decision.
The robot side.
So I would say that's exciting. You know, it's exciting to think like, okay, I could just download this information onto my brain.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like that. You can look up anything that you want in like 2 seconds, you know? And then once it's available to everybody, it just becomes like the norm. It would be really cool if only I had access to it, and then I could be smarter than everybody else. Mm-hmm. But once it's available to everybody, then it's just like, well, everybody just downloads the entire encyclopedia of human knowledge, and then everybody's on the same playing field again.
Yeah.
So,
Solid point.
Future world problems.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Terrifying or exciting?
It's a little terrifying. I think that I will be dead and gone before anything like
Really?
too terrifying happens. But I was I was watching a TikTok, if I'm being purposely like, if I'm being honest, it was a TikTok that I got this information from. But somebody was going through, like, Queen Elizabeth just died. She was 96 years old. And they were going through her life and saying all of these, like, major world events that happened in her lifetime that we think of as just, like, just completely, like, distant, like, historical, like, whatever. Like, we don't even think about those things as, like, in this lifetime. But, like, they really were not that long ago. And it seems like scientific advances, everything, society has changed so much so quickly in the past 100 years that that's only going to accelerate, and the prospect of that is a little bit terrifying. If I get too deep into it, it's a little terrifying, but for the most part, I think it's pretty cool if you just like insert a chip into your brain and like you just are way smarter.
That'd be cool.
Or if like you can like program like, no, I'm just really happy today. Today I'm really creative. Today I'm really... That'd be cool, I guess.
That would be pretty cool. Something to think about.
That is something to think about. All right, what's your question?
My question is, this is a really, really hot topic in the construction industry.
Okay.
It's on everybody's mind.
Okay.
Everybody's thinking about it every day. They can't stop thinking about it. From the moment they get into work, it's the only thing that they can think about.
What is it? The anticipation is killing me.
What is for lunch? It's all anybody in the trades cares about. What's for lunch? What are we doing for lunch today? So
that took a turn. I was not expecting it.
What is your favorite? I won't say favorite. What's the ideal workday lunch?
So are we talking like ordered lunch or homemade lunch that I have brought?
I'm gonna say either or, but you know, we're taking into account, you know, the delight that you have in eating it, but also the after effects, the afterburn.
Yeah.
Because, you know, today, you know what I had? I had pizza.
Too heavy.
Way too heavy.
Much too heavy.
Much too heavy. I was so
after
tired.
Lunch. Yeah, it's a nap. That's a nap meal for sure.
Yeah, so that wouldn't make the cut for me. Pizza tastes good. I like it, but not when I have to go back to work, especially when it's hot out. So
that is...
It's like, what's the ideal food that not only tastes great, but energizes you, gets you going mentally and physically, the whole package.
This is a much harder question than I was expecting.
We ask the hard-hitting questions.
We do.
We do.
The other day, I was in a bit of a sad sap, and I got a sticky bun for lunch.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Would recommend if you're sad, but I did need a nap after that. That was that was probably the best lunch I've ever had at work, but also
You did nap.
the heaviest.
You napped
I
in
napped.
the van. No, you didn't.
You weren't supposed to see that.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. So there is that delight factor that you get into it. That, like, you have to consider that.
Yeah.
I really do feel like the bagged salads, though. We do. I get bagged salads. Sean gets bagged salads. You put a little chicken in those. Those are like the perfect work lunch, I would say, because it's light enough that it's enjoyable enough. It's light enough that you're not going to nap, and it's like fuel for the rest of the day. So I'll go bagged salad, as boring as that is.
That is, it's not that boring when you get the bagged salads because they always have like a nice little, the one I like is the barbecue ranch, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's got little bacon bits. But it's got a yogurt dressing, so it's not too heavy. Mm-hmm. It's a healthy for you salad, but it's got a little bit of bacon bits and it's got a little bit of tortilla chips.
Ooh, okay.
Just enough. So you mix that all up. You add some chicken in there. It tastes good. They got all of the ratios figured out.
Yeah.
It's all in
It's
a
pretty solid.
all-encompassing package.
It is.
It is good fuel.
Yeah. It's good fuel. All right. What's your favorite lunch?
Well, that's a good one, and I have been doing those a lot. But I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with the old tried and true. Carrots, hummus, protein shake, and an apple.
Oh, boy.
Love that.
The people don't work with us, so they don't know that you have eaten that every single day for the past 6 months, but
Yeah, I eat that a lot.
that's pretty much all Sean eats for lunch.
So my typical day of food up until I get home at night, that's when like I actually do eat something different each day sometimes. I wake up, if I work out in the morning, I'll have a protein shake and an apple afterwards. Then at lunch, I like to have usually baby carrots, a little cup of hummus, a protein shake, and usually string cheese.
String cheese, yeah.
And then I have a ride home meal, and usually that's a protein shake and an apple.
Yeah.
And then I go home. So there's a lot of protein shakes and lots of apples.
Yeah.
I just like them. They taste good.
Yeah.
It's good fuel. Makes me feel good.
I love a good crisp apple.
A good crisp apple, like it's good because it's nice and it's filling enough, and it's also like got a little bit of sugar in it, so it like
It's a sweet treat.
It wakes me up. It makes me mentally sharp,
Yeah.
like an axe.
Okay.
So I love that.
All right. Well, we got it all figured out.
We got it all figured out.
I think I've gotten my squirreliness out for the day. What do you think?
Yeah. Usually we start out pretty calm and collected and end pretty squirrely.
Yeah.
I feel like we did the opposite. I do feel like I needed to get that squirrely energy out, and I feel good about it. I feel calm. So
that could. We didn't work together in the same place today, so maybe it was just
that could be.
we hadn't talked to each other all day.
Yeah.
Had to get all that squirreliness out up front.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Well, I think we've covered enough for this week.
I think so too.
Catherine, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this again next week and we'll talk about a really interesting business topic?
Yeah, I think I could be into that. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So, we're going to have another great topic for you next week. If you could do us a huge favor and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast.
Please.
It helps with the recommendations. It helps us do this. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any monies coming in. We just do this out of just because we're having fun.
We enjoy it.
Just because we enjoy it. So if you could do that, that would be very much appreciated. But until next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.